Cherish all the time you spend, you tuned into. It's time again. Cherish all the time you spend, you tuned into. It's the number one podcast. The topics of discussion when we broadcast. So all them artificial man jokes, we do it natural from the concrete to a public standpoint. Real, wherever you're from, life is coexisting, but to know the real, you just gotta listen. Wherever you're from, life is coexisting, but to know the real.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 52 Scott Podcast. I'm your host, K Money, and in the building with me, my co-host Slash, Freddie G, and Comedian 96. Collectively, we are the Mind of Men. You can find us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Scott Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, the 52 Scott Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and or subscribe. Welcome, fellas, to another True Tuesday episode. Today, man, this story I saw on the news last week where a Russian national who's a permanent U.S. resident stowed away on a Delta flight. 65-year-old, I'm finna butcher her name, Zvush.
Bush?
But just say she got a Russian name, man. She got a Russian name.
I was practicing it, man, and I had to do it to practice, but last name Dolly.
Dolly.
Yeah, was arrested. I'm sorry, and I said she was 65, but she's actually 57, and she lives in Philly, but the flight that she stowed away on was from out of JFK in New York. And somehow, some way, this lady was able to get by TSA, which that alone, I feel, is impossible to do. Right. But she was able to, get through TSA, as well as get on board a plane. And I've flown recently several times, actually in the last year. And just the security that they have nowadays at the airport ever since 9/11 is, it's just, I thought it was impossible.
No, I'm finna mess you up. I know we're talking about stowaway on flights, but getting through TSA, there's a video. If y'all go, I actually was just watching this video about 2 days ago. There's a video on YouTube. There's a guy, and you can actually Google it. I should have got his name. He had mental issues. And he was cool for a long time, but just this one day, he just woke up, had mental issues. He was at home. He started at home, and then he left, and then he went, for some reason, went to the airport. I don't know why he went to the airport. They show him on video getting through, when you go board the plane in that door, and then, if it ain't no plane there, you just fall straight down if it ain't nothing there.
Right.
He got through that door, jumped down.
Wasn't no plane.
And then it was other planes that were ready, they would just had their engine on.
Damn near run him over.
Yeah, and then he had got all the way through all that, and wasn't until he got to a plane that was running when they seen him on. Yeah, and then when it came out there, he was just so senseless that he actually just jumped into the motor and chopped him up. It's on YouTube. Go watch it.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Trip me out.
So K Money, she made it on to the plane, right?
Right. She
with the passengers, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it's probably easier than we think. So where was the flight headed to?
Yeah. The flight was going to Paris. This was an international flight.
So it was an international flight. Would you say that a flight from the U.S. to Paris costs more? Well, she was from Philly, right?
She's from Philly, but she was flying out of New York.
So let's say a flight from New York to Texas would be cheaper than a flight from New York to Paris.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So what if she bought a cheap ticket and knew the schedule of the flight that was going to Paris and maneuvered her way? Of course, you make it through TSA and all that because you got a legit ticket.
Yeah.
You got a legit ticket.
Right. But
then
don't they check your ticket too before boarding?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I know. But what I'm saying is, I know. I'm just saying, but to get through TSA and to get through all that other stuff,
that's how she was able to
you got a legit ticket.
Right.
Now you're just not partying. The hard part would be to get on a plane
that you're not
supposed to be on.
Right.
But you've gotten past all of the security checkpoints.
Well,
now you're just getting on a plane that you're not supposed to be on.
That's a good theory. However, this lady didn't even have a ticket. She somehow evaded, like I said, TSA without a ticket, and that's one thing you need you need your ticket and your ID when you're going through TSA.
Right.
She was able to get on the plane because she went through where the crew members actually enter. And again, some type of form of ID, I'm sure, is needed, or badge to show that you're an employee.
Right.
So it's just, I feel like the airline, and this was Delta Airline. I would have thought Spirit, it would have been easier to sneak on a Spirit flight, but this happened with Delta.
Then too, look at it this way. She didn't have no credentials, but she went through the area where a crew member would go through,
Correct.
right? But with no credentials.
None.
Who's more apt to be questioned? Someone who's Caucasian or looks white versus someone who looks black?
Yeah.
Who's more apt to be questioned?
You're right about that.
She just probably moseyed on through.
And then
nobody questioned her.
She fit in.
Yeah.
Like she could be part of management.
Yeah, well, being 57, like you say, Freddie G, they're not going to question her.
Yeah.
Caucasian, look like she could be, not go harm anybody, or do any danger. So just let her through. But that person that was checking, that Delta employee that was checking crew members in, definitely was derelict.
Yeah.
And I'm sure probably was punished. They didn't mention that or not. But once the lady got on the plane, of course she didn't have an assigned seat or a seat at all. She was actually going from restroom to restroom throughout the entire flight. Yeah, and that's how she was discovered. One of the flight attendants actually saw her going from one laboratory to the next and noticed it happening on more than one occasion. So that's when they questioned her, and she was busted.
Wow.
Now, keep in mind, this is being an international flight, man. That's a long-ass flight.
Yeah, it's a long flight.
I don't even understand how she felt that she was going to get away with
that many hours. Switching from bathroom to bathroom.
I would always hear about stowaways, but again, I had never really heard any stories of any people storing on the way because I couldn't see or think where they would be
on the plane.
Right.
Where are you?
Because most planes I've been on, 9 times out of 10 they're full. But I mean, I'm sure that there are flights that are not full, and those would be a more easier
to get on. Yeah,
yeah, I would think.
But here's the thing, though: they have a head count of how many people are supposed to be on the flight before the flight takes off.
But if you're stowed away,
but where are you stowed away at?
I'm finna get at that. So, believe it or not, y'all, I'll just pull this up. I'll actually pull this up already, and they're saying that I'm reading from here. There was a guy named Keith Saps Ford. He's from Sydney, Australia, who fell 200 feet. And they're saying it was bound, he fell out of the wheel well, 200 feet. He was bound for Tokyo. And they're saying that this is a common scenario when someone hides in the landing gear compartment of a plane to travel without paying. So it's common. That's
to hide in the landing gear.
I got 3 people right here, names that all died in the wheel.
So they climb up in there.
Yeah, because the thing is they don't think about
the plane takes off.
Right. They don't think about the oxygen. They know it's going to be cold. Right? So some people bring the blanket and think, oh, okay, I'll just cover up. I know it's going to be cold up there. But the air is thin as well. So if you don't fall or get hit one by the little engines right inside of there or the blades, or you ain't gonna be able to breathe, and you don't know how long you finna fly. Your flight is, so you gotta try to catch your breath for hours and hours and hours.
When the plane about to land and they open up,
you gonna fall out.
You gonna fall? Yeah, they fall out in the wheel well. So I don't understand why they keep trying. And I got 3 different names. The first person was what's this person's name?
And they all snuck in the wheel well.
Keith Safford.
Landing gear. Whatever.
Landing gear. Keith Safford was the first one, and then had another.
Does those, by chance, does it say how recent those were?
Okay, that was 1970, so that was an old one. But this person's name, this happened in 2021, July 2013. It's a Turkish man named, I'm gonna mess this name, Hikmet Komur. He died after stowaway in a wheel well on a British airline. And then another in 2020 was a stowaway body of a little girl, a child. She was dead inside her plane in the wheel well. It's Air France. So it happens more than you think. You have to think there's a lot of third world countries that can't afford these $1,000 flights, and they need to get to the U.S. They're trying to cross the border. So what's the best thing to do? I don't think them overseas places, their security ain't as high as ours. We the one that got attacked, not everybody else. Yeah. So
possibly.
Yeah, so their security is not as tight as the U.S. So if you notice all these places that mostly do, I don't even do it in the U.S. too, but mostly, like you said, Turkish, British Airways, all those places, well, security's not really that tight. So you can just go in and out as you please.
You were saying earlier, Comedian 96, how it happens more often than what we hear. Mm-hmm. But it sounds like, especially from your examples, that when people do attempt it or try it, that they don't survive.
They don't survive, no. I'm pretty sure some people do because they wouldn't keep trying it. Some people probably bring a little oxygen tank with them because they ain't out that big. Somebody probably just, if they bring a blanket oxygen tank and they don't freeze, they have their overcoat on, they're not that cold. Some people probably make it and hey man, I'm here, man, I got here. Because you wouldn't just keep attempting it if you know somebody died. It's just some people just don't know how to do it.
I've never even thought to board a plane without paying.
I'll be too scared.
That's not even something I think about.
Like I say, bro, I can't even think of how they get that far.
What makes you think you can do this is my thing.
If you're in a third world country.
But you know what? Like you say, I think our mind frame is different because of our color. We know we can't get away with it.
Yeah. We're not going to even try it.
Facts.
We're not going to even try. I'm not going to step out on the airport, on the thing. I ain't doing none of that. Yeah, I don't need my bag.
If I ain't supposed to be at the airport, I'm not there.
Yeah,
So K-Money, when they discovered this lady, did she put up any resistance?
Not at all. She once she got caught, she didn't resist or anything, and they questioned her and asked her why, what was her reasoning for doing so, and apparently this lady had applied for asylum in France, a few years ago, and that was her reasoning for trying to get to Paris. She recently filed 2 lawsuits in recent months alleging that she was a victim of military-grade chemical weapons and a kidnapping plot.
Here in the U.S.?
It doesn't. I'm assuming in the U.S., but she was, like I say, trying to seek asylum in Paris, and that didn't work. The plan didn't go out the way she. I'm assuming wanted it to go because she got caught.
So based upon her trying to get on this plane, and then the deal with what you say, the military, what you say,
military grade chemical weapons, and a kidnapping plot.
Just hearing that. And then thinking about her trying to get on this plane without paying, I would definitely do a mental evaluation on her. She definitely needs that. Something's not right.
Not ticking.
Yeah, she. Comedian 96. You were mentioning earlier how the security in these third world countries, are not as strict as ours here in the U.S. and that's the thing. This happened in the U.S.
Right.
Not in one of these third world countries.
Well, what was she flying?
She was going to Paris.
She was going to Paris.
But she left New York.
New York is a JFK.
Where it would be.
But see, Paris has like you could take weed to Paris.
No, check it out though.
But the thing
if you're leaving New York, think about how high the security level is around
especially
the US.
In New York.
But especially in New York because the
only coming back in. If y'all fly a lot, only coming back in, depending on the spot where you're coming from.
I see what you're saying.
Not leaving. Leaving, they're a little less. They're like, you can smoke weed.
Because you're not coming to terrorize them.
Yeah, in Paris. You can smoke weed in Denmark. You can smoke weed in these other countries much more looser, so they're a little bit more looser. Now, coming back from them countries, we know you got some weed. We're going to check your bags. We know you got this. So they're going to be a lot stricter coming into the U.S., not as far as leaving to go to another country.
I can see where that makes sense, and that may be how she was able to get on that plane.
Yeah.
But see, you saying as far as smuggling shit, she smuggled her whole body.
Her whole body.
Just her. Think about it. She probably walked around looking like a dang old
that
elementary school principal.
Yeah, she definitely
and they was like, that's the manager. That's the big manager. You don't know how she was dressed. She probably looked like a grown, like one of the
just a homeless old lady.
Yeah. So or a harmless old lady. Now she was walking around, didn't know where she was going. That'd be different. But she's probably knew or acting like she knew where she was going, and nobody questioning her. That happens a lot. Just don't happen to black people.
So I think apparently the only flight she was supposed to be on was the one where they were sending her ass back. So,
From Paris?
From Paris.
From Paris.
Yeah.
She got a free trip. Yeah.
My concern, when things like this happen, it just makes me think that it gives those terrorist ideas on how vulnerable
That's what I think about.
the U.S. could be in regards to trying to attack us again. And that they're constantly thinking.
Yeah.
And I'm always bringing shit like this here when we do talk about things of this nature. How it could be a terroristic threat coming after things like this are exposed. How you feel about that, Comedian 96? You agree?
I agree, but I hate to say it. It's kind of I ain't gonna call it racist, or I can call it stereotype. I'm pretty sure it's a certain look they look for. You know what I'm saying? You coming there with a turban, they looking at you.
Well, you already go look suspicious with a damn turban on.
Yeah, but if you come there looking like a fourth grade teacher, they ain't finna bother you as much. But that is scary, because what if they just go get a whole bunch of fourth grade teacher looking women to just walk around the airport?
But you got some motherfuckers that they sacrifice their lives to do certain things. So their objective is just to get to a certain area and do whatever. So if they're able to have access to a plane,
They made it.
yeah, mission is accomplished, because once they on board and the plane is airborne, just say if this lady had a bomb on her.
On her.
Right. That's what I'm saying. That would be the thing. Man, that's tough, because they basically, I don't know, Al Qaeda, I don't know who the terrorists are, but I mean, I do know, but I'm just saying.
And
they would have to actually recruit people that actually look harmless, so to speak.
And I think that's something that they could be considering nowadays. People.
That's true.
Now, why and how would they recruit people like that? I don't know. But money talks. You know what I'm saying? I could.
They have sleepers. They say they have sleeper cells. I don't know how true. Allegedly, there's sleeper cells out there. You'll never know. They're like regular people. I don't know how true that is.
So what do you mean by sleeper cell?
Like, so if they plan to attack, they already have people in place, people that work at businesses, grocery stores, or convenience stores. Supposedly. I don't know how true that is, but they're sitting and wait for instructions.
So when you use the word sleeper, you're really just thinking of someone who may look and appear to be harmless.
Yes. So it'd be just somebody that are probably, I want to say, maybe not, they're affiliated with these terrorist groups, and they don't make a move until they get a phone call. They call them sleeper cells. I don't know how true it is, but allegedly there are sleeper cells in the U.S., and they just wait for instructions to do whatever they need to do. So that is a thought, because if you just get in the airport like that, man, we'll be at another 9/11. It'll be 20/30/11 if they don't watch it. So I agree with you, K-Money.
It says Delta blamed the breach on a deviation from its standard procedures, but didn't specify how it strayed away from its usual security practice. And you got to think, flights happen all day, every day.
Right.
So this is something that's being done on a repetitive basis. I can't understand why they would stray away.
Yeah, Delta missed something.
Yeah, big time.
But here's the thing, though. Is it possible that they strayed away from their standard procedure because in the aviation field, period, all around the board, there's a shortage. So it's possible that they maybe strayed away from their standard procedures due to lack of personnel.
That's possible.
That's possible,
Or due to the fact that the personnel just ain't doing their job that day.
too. That's what I'm thinking.
It's more of
derelict.
that.
I'm going to go back to Freddie G, because during COVID, he lost a lot of airport people.
Oh, a lot of
couple
people everywhere.
Airlines went out
Yeah.
of business. I agree with
Well,
Freddie G.
now that they've made this transition for flight attendants, and I don't know about the actual airport workers, but they had this new plan in place for the ones that work on the plane. So I'm sure they changed something for the people that work at the airport itself also, as far as an extra incentive money-wise,
Yeah.
to keep people on the team,
Yeah.
Something they have to do. But I just think that regardless of how many people was working there that day, they dropped the ball.
It says she had a black jacket on and a pale gray beanie and a pink scarf. Nah,
Is anybody monitoring the cameras? Because as I'm thinking about it, remember earlier I stated about the guy. They showed the camera. This guy walking everywhere. They showed him trying to get into the airport. They showed all that on the camera. So I know they got cameras. My question is, who's manning them?
watching them?
Who watching them?
Yeah.
I mean, but
This
she
man
again,
walked all through. He went through escalator. He did everything. They showed everything he did in that airport.
But did he look suspicious for them to be watching him or monitoring
He
him?
was
You know what I'm
going
saying?
to suspicious places. He
Well,
went
this
to
is
three
the
different
thing.
suspicious places that he wasn't supposed to be in, and no one approached him. So I'm with Freddie G. Somebody ain't doing their job.
So look, here's the
Somebody
thing
not doing
about
their
somebody
job.
that's watching some cameras.
Yeah.
I don't think they actually watching the
That's
whole
a boring
time.
ass job. You got to imagine.
You know what I'm saying?
you
You're
ain't
not
lying.
sitting there in this
Watching.
room
Yeah.
with these TV screens and just watching everything go on. And you might have 15, 20 cameras.
Yeah.
You can't see it all.
Uh-huh.
You know, so it's a lot where that's not even applicable for what's going on right here. It's
Yeah,
the actual
true,
people
true,
that's
true.
working TSA, the
True.
people that's at the boarding port or your boarding pass or wherever you have to go to get to this plane. They dropped the ball.
Now Delta, you know, all these airlines they have their own uniforms.
Right.
This definitely didn't sound like Delta's uniform what she had on.
Nah.
So again, this employee who was checking in the crew members dropped the ball.
And you know what's crazy, K Money, when you talk about what she had on? If you look at her on the flight coming back, she got the same thing on.
Right.
Oh man.
And so now she chased. She stands a chance on facing 5 years of federal prison time for this stowaway.
So
That's a lot.
when you said on the flight back home / so she wasn't arrested on the spot, K-Money?
Yeah, she was arrested on the spot,
Yeah.
but they deported her as well.
Right back.
They had to send her back to the U.S.
So Wednesday, when she tried to leave, Thursday, she on her way back to the U.S.
And she actually caused a disturbance on the way, trying to come back.
So they've okay.
She was detained
When
by
she was-
French police when the plane landed.
Okay, so she was detained in France.
Correct.
Right, on Wednesday.
But France, they didn't arrest her there. They deported her back.
Because
Correct.
she's from the U.S., exactly. Now, this was what was strange about that. Her flight back to the U.S., she was on the plane with a CNN news reporter. So they already, now how was they already in there with this lady? You understand what I'm saying?
Okay.
How do CNN already know to be here at the airport when she's on her way back? Where was this person? Where was this reporter to know that this lady was stowed away on a plane and I'm going to come back with you the next day? I'm going to be on the plane. I'm going to ask you some questions.
Well, it's possible that the story could have gotten back to the States before the plane landed, so CNN was able to send someone out there.
That fast.
I mean, shit, it's possible.
Wow.
It's possible. I wouldn't put anything past it nowadays.
Yeah, so they say when she got back to the U.S., they had a lot of security and police officers at the airport when she got back to arrest her or whatever.
Yeah, but I agree with Freddie G in regards to her getting some type of mental evaluation.
Yeah, I think she needs that, man.
Now, do you guys feel that even if, let's say the mental evaluation comes back and she does have a mental issue, you think that should be a reason for her not to
I don't think you should.
be punished?
I say you get punished, maybe fined, but 5 years for especially if it's her first offense. How you gonna get somebody 5 years for catching a flight?
But keep in mind, she mentioned something about a kidnapping plot, so her nerves probably was fucked up.
Okay, well then that changes.
Then too,
Yeah,
Paranoid.
then too,
You did
when
say that.
when if she's something wrong with her mentally, I think one of the problems that we have in the U.S. is we don't actually treat the source of the problem a lot of the times. There are a lot of people, in my opinion, who are incarcerated, but they're actually mentally disturbed.
Right.
So they get incarcerated but never get the actual help that they need. So I'm not saying that you should get away from committing a crime. If you've committed a crime, then of course you have to be punished for committing a crime.
Responsible.
Right.
But I also believe that if it's determined that you have some kind of mental illness, that has to be factored into the punishment when they're given the punishment.
I agree.
Yeah.
So to actually get these people some help.
Yeah.
Now,
I
she
think,
didn't harm nobody.
No, and I think the 5 years would be too much for somebody.
I think that's harsh too. If anything, I would fine her the amount of the flight.
And give her probation.
Yeah.
And give her, fine. A little $500.
Not even a fine. Probation. I don't want your money.
Okay, a probation. 5 years probation.
I wouldn't give you 5. I give you 2 years probation.
Yeah, that's true.
And
well, we want to make sure you don't want to do it again. So 5 years probation.
Well, the 2 years and you can't fly in these 2 years.
Or even a finance a suspended sentence.
Now check this out.
Yeah.
K Money, you said that she was what? Russian?
Russian.
Yeah.
Okay. She has citizenship
In the U.S.
in the U.S.
Correct.
So I would assume she has dual citizenship in Russia and the U.S., right?
Possible.
Now, I don't know if you should go this far, but think about this. We know that we're going to have an incoming president that's coming in, and they talk about mass deportation.
Right.
Right? And they say that they're going to start with the criminals first, right? Well, if she committed a crime
She's first.
by doing that,
Yeah.
then think about this. I'm not saying that this should happen to her, but think about, okay, you committed a crime in this country. We allowed you to have citizenship in this country, but you're not originally from this country. So we strip your citizenship and deport you back to your original country.
Okay.
Which is Russia.
I can see that, but I can see Trump also saying, "You're just crazy." That's something I would do.
But I don't know. I don't know if Russia is where she was really trying to get back to, though. But
Well, we don't care about where you want to go.
Yeah.
You committed a crime.
committed a crime.
You just
in
getting
this
up out the
country.
U.S.
We allowed you citizenship here because you went about the paperwork the right way.
Right.
Part of being a citizen, a productive citizen in the U.S. is not to commit a crime.
Correct.
Right.
Now, because you committed a crime, we're not going to incarcerate you
We're
in
gonna
the
send you
U.S.
back.
We just
because
deporting you back.
incarcerating you in the U.S. will cost us money. So let's strip your citizenship away because you've abused that by committing a crime. We're not going to detain you and put you in jail because that actually cost us money to house you in prison.
So
we
I'm-
deport you back to Russia.
So that means she'll get a free flight to Russia now.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
It's free.
It's free.
Well, she got some frequent flyer miles.
She did.
In 1 week, a lot
She
of
got
miles.
two free flights.
I'm going to try to say her name one more time, man. Svilana Dali. I think I got it that time. Svilana
Yeah, the
Dali.
S and V. One is silent.
Yeah.
The T, I think it is.
Well, take that silent motherfucker out of there then.
Yeah. I think the T is silent in her name.
Svilana was originally from, she lived in Philly. Oh, I said that earlier. So Philly is only a 2-hour drive, to New York, from Philly to New York. She was desperate to get out of the U.S., I think, and get to Paris. Hopefully,
Now you see there, she want to be out of the U.S. in the first place.
Anyway,
she don't want to be in the U.S.
yeah, but I don't think she wanted to be in Russia.
Well, she ain't
either.
got no choice on that. She ain't got no choice on that.
That's fine.
She's trying to go.
You left Russia to get to the U.S. and you don't want to be in the U.S.
Now you want to be in Paris.
Well, we're going to deport you to Russia,
Back
and
to
then
Russia.
you do what you need to do to get from Russia to Paris.
Paris. Yeah.
Right.
Well, the only thing I could tell Miss Dolly next time she considers this, if it's a plan in the future, here in the U.S., we normally pay for things that we want, and next time you choose to take a flight, Miss Dolly, you must pay instead of stow away. Peace out. This concludes another True Tuesday episode, and be sure you tune in tomorrow for another episode of Women Wednesday with Freddie G. Don't forget to follow us on X, formerly known as Twitter, at 52 Sky Podcast, Instagram and Facebook, The 52 Sky Podcast, and if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like and or subscribe. And to all my 52 Sky faithfuls, it may be new to you, but if you heard it here, then you know it's true.